Progress.
Okay. So just watch for my pointer. It's not colored. It should be, but somehow the PowerPoint is not allowing it. It's a white cursor, and while it moves, I hope you can keep your eye on it. So just look at this side where this is, in purple color, this box that says search operators. This is how I'm going to explain some of the ways in which we categorize the advanced operators, basically. The first one in the box says file formats, meaning that it's going to search for specific type of files, including PDFs, docs, Microsoft Office suite, um, but it will exclude certain type of searches. It will not entertain certain types of files which you may seek or you assume that it will bring back. For example, it won't work with JPEGs, which is images, MOVs for the videos, MPEG, MP3, MP4, PNGs, GIFs, none of them will be called using file formats. So basically, you would commonly use file format search for PDFs normally because most of the research papers, some important information that's uploaded, which can be really useful, or it has a lot of text in it that is secured and placed within the PDF file. So PDF is one. Then we've got Microsoft Office Suite starting from doc files. At times you may want to, or you may wish for searching for certain type of information that can be less secure and therefore easy to get to and easy to copy and paste and use it for yourself. It's not as secure, and that is in the Microsoft Word format. So you can search for that. Mostly students and those in academia, they search for essays or anything that's uploaded in doc files, but usually we don't look for doc files. We usually are searching for PDFs. Then we have got XLS. It is important for you to know that there exists a huge inventory of indexed Excel pages that carries a lot of data in it. Some of the data is very large data, and it is um, at times it's raw data, which means it has no relationship with anything else except that it is placed in certain columns and rows. So there could be a treasure trove of the data or raw data that you can find using file type for calling the XLS files. Then I'm just telling you the utility of some of those file types, okay? So that you have, a bit of an information at the back of your mind. While you are searching something in PDFs, you may also discover something important or similar or something less secure, that is extractable, easily extractable, and it does not have a copyright issues. Those data you can find in XLS, in docs, and PowerPoint. PowerPoint is also a very important type of document because it has concise formats of charts and whatever is shown in the PowerPoints for presentation purposes, which is short information, but it is not only short, it is also precise, and it has certain data which can be pulled or can be useful for. Okay, so PowerPoints, XLS, Doc, PDF is the common search. Now, on the other hand, there are certain type of files or the certain formats of the files which are searched by journalists, for example, for the reason of, let's say, war zone reporting. They might want certain images coming from Google or Google, what is that called? Google satellite uh, formats. Those are specialized formats, KWM, KWV, that is the extension they use, because they want to compare certain ground realities to match with what is obtained as an image file captured by the satellite, to compare it with what used to be versus what is the current version of it, to explain that today you can see this building is there, or this reference point that they can do triangulates that to give an assurance or to give an evidence that certain things exists, and it's relative to some of the surrounding monuments or anything that could be point of reference. And then later in the current situation, when they get the image, they don't see that anymore. So they can pinpoint that, first of all, that used to be a building, now it doesn't exist, or there used to be something there, now it doesn't exist. And by the way, the reference points that you can see that we can point to are there to give to explain that it is exactly the same location, and so on so forth. There's just a just to we just got dragged a little bit off course, but to let you know that there are other file formats also, and you will discover that it's in the book, and I'll show you where it's at so you know what you can search for. By the way, what is excluded from the search are image files, certain multimedia files. When I say it cannot be found, I'm talking with relationship to the file format search query that you will put together using the advanced operator for finding that file format. Okay. We call it file type. You can see it right here. Now, why, when, by who? Okay, you can read this. I've included this in your PowerPoint, this slide. But it is not important because we are going to discover all of this anyways. But the file type operator shown here, it says it has the wording file type followed by a colon sign. Colon sign is an executor or a trigger, or it's a signal of for starting a function of some sort, or it is going to be the information that is declared on the right side of it with relationship to what it has on the left side as a word. So file type declared after the colon is going to be the information which will indicate, in this case, the type of file. Okay. So there were other operators that used to function, but now Google has Google is not using it anymore, so it's pretty much useless. Occasionally they work, but it's a hiccup. Sometimes works, sometimes won't. So I won't even recommend it. But what used to be there was another operator. Never mind the vertical bar. Here, the vertical bars are just used to separate the search operators, which could include format colon and ext colon. That's the only reason. It is not an or command. Okay, file type alone is the operator. Format colon ext colon. We're not going to discuss it. It's depreciated, no longer operational. Coming down, you will see we have search operators that work on snippets. You know, the snippet that comes back in three uh, segments. So the snippet part has three elements to it. It has the URL at the top, it has the title part, and then the description. So in order for you to make sure that certain terms would match with what you have in the title of snippet, you will use an operator that's exclusive for searching into the title part of the title tag of those pages, and therefore it has an operator called in title colon or all in title colon. So that's why it is organized within the snippet zone, or let's call snippet as a differentiator or organizing, or the way we are organizing the different aspects of advanced search queries and segmenting them. into, giving them a heading. So a snippet includes the in title, and then if you are to search for something that is going to show up as those highlighted words in the description area of a snippet, which is the gray colored fonts with a lot many words that's there. That's the description area of a snippet. And when you have to find terms that is going to be brought from the body of text of those pages, or it is to be searched in order to match your search terms, it is going to go and look for something within the body of text and would not include the title part, or the title tag is not the one that is going to be operated on for matching reasons, only the body of text. And for that reason, in order for it to go and look and do in-depth uh, search, you will be using something called in text. Okay, in text with the colon sign, or all in text with the colon sign. And then if you have to find a match for the wordings that belong to the or exist in the stem of a URL or a link, you will use a query operator in URL or all in URL. Okay, so this settles the snippet related advanced operators as an intro. And you can see them right here. It says in title for the title, all in title, in text, all in URL, all of it. This is what we'll be dealing with. And coming down, this is another box. It is saying that if you need to search for something that is restricted to the specific domain, or any of those pages that belong to or are connected to a specific domain, you would use an operator called cite colon to act as a restrictor to ensure nothing comes from any other domain or any other source except the specific domain that you would define using the cite colon operator. Okay. Some of these operators don't exist anymore. Okay. So, all in cite no longer exists. Cite colon exists, in URL, all in URL exists. In URL belongs to the one that is right here in pink. It says links. Okay. So in URL and all in URL, cite belongs to the domain part. Okay. And then we have source and number range and short search. There are numerous that are mentioned here. Most of these are depreciated. Somehow Google doesn't feel that you require any of them anymore. So I'm not going to confuse you with getting you into this zone. And my idea was just to explain this part of the charts. Nothing else is as important or even worth considering for this slide. And as I told you, it's an older slide. So I'm going to move forward now. And this is the reality, today's reality of what works. And this is some of them that we will be covering, others that no longer are operational. So let's get those settled first. So this one, okay, this one is no longer operational. So I'm just going to, let me just sort of make it faded. Okay. These are flaky. The ones that used to lead you to the source of where the information originated or who uploaded the information first, or anything that is to do with just finding the source of information or the nature of the content page, whether it could be a writing style, could be a blog, could be an article, could be news, that used to be found using the source operators. But there is another way around it to get to these, and that we will discover by explaining more in URL and all in URL that would do the same job. Okay. Cache is also not required. Image size. I'm just making some corrections. Uh, these are the ones that we will be working with. Okay. Let's start with file type. Um, and one of the things that I don't see here, it should have been, I don't know if it is the right slide because, okay, I'm going to use the notepad. I think that's the best way to do it. Let's call these rules of using advanced operators. Okay, so let this be the heading. Now, what I'd start with is I'm going to take the operators, one operator at a time. File type, for example. So this is file type. Let's not worry about its function, but try to understand the format of how the advanced operators are set. And you would see that they have a very peculiar or very typical format. It starts with the word, then it has those two dots without any gap. And after that is what we will be discovering. So if it is a file type colon, we can make it or make it function as an operator only if you don't leave a gap. If you leave a gap, it's no longer an operator. Okay. It's not recognized as anything to do with function of file type colon. Second thing, if you declare something after the colon sign, you leaving a gap, again, it's not going to function. So placement of what you're going to when I say declare, declare means that something that you want it to work on. It could be a word, it could be a domain, it could be the file extension. Okay. So we will see what operators would require for you to put or declare the information, which we call property value, by the way. Never mind at this point, just it's a terminology, but let's say declared property or the declared property name here has to be a of, I'm sorry, it has to be either things like, XLS or anything that has a file type that works with the extension. If it is doc, then you will have doc, you will have PDF and so on. But by mistake, if you wrote something like, putting, and this I've seen many people do that mistake. Let's suppose I want a CIRS course and I want a PDF version of it. So you start with the word and you end with the PDF as an extension. This is not going to work. Okay. First of all, it's going to be ignored totally because the idea of writing the extension is either you're going to put PDF like this, or you can even put .pdf also. But recommended is like this. Similarly, XLS is, I think it's XLSX now, or doc X, whatever the extension might be. So that's what you're going to put in. So here, let's say we say EXT, file extension. Okay. In the second one, I'm going to talk about the snippet related. Okay. So if it is snippet related and you are going to use, say, title colon, after that, you can put something that we call a declared text value, or which could be a text wording or a search phrase. It doesn't matter, but as long as it is something which is worded or is considered textual in nature, nothing to do with the file extension, nothing to do with the domain name, anything that you declare put after the title is going to be considered a textual query or textual, let's just call it text. Just call it text. Okay. Same thing with in text, same thing, in URL, same thing. So it's all going to be declared text. Here, anything that you put after this colon sign with snippets and these advanced operator is textual in nature. If you're going to use the cite operator, this will request that you put the complete domain name. Don't think that www is valid anymore, or it is something that you have to place. In fact, it may have a negative impact actually, because www is already inclusive of when you start with the protocol HTTPS. These days, www is assumed. It's just World Wide Web. No need to put that. Just put the name of the domain, and the domain name has to be complete. For instance, I cannot put it like this. It's not going to be recognized. I also cannot put A of IRS. Uh, I don't have to, I am not going to put it like this. It's not going to be recognized. So it has to be the domain name that includes the extended word or extension of the naming convention or the registration of it. So it could be .com, .org, whatever it may be. Okay. You can not expect the search to or the site operator to work similar to um, in URL. Okay. In URL, it's searching for the words in the stem of the link that is including the domain name itself. And then there are file folders and subfolders that has a naming there, which is something that you can use as an alternative to find information that you could also get from site colon. So this creates a confusion, and we will solve this confusion. But for now, let's just call it a domain name. It has to be a domain name. Okay. You can even put a subdomain name here. You can even put a domain name that is like, for instance, if I go to aofirs.org, there are pages which are named as memberships. And then there is subdomain membership. Um, so if you put it like this, even then the site operator will work just the same as in URL. The only condition in site is that you do put .org. You cannot, but in URL, you can use these extensions. What the heck? Sorry about that. Okay. But when you are writing site operator, you can write the whole link or the whole or the piece of the URL like this. Now it will find not only just AOFIRS, it is going to restrict the search to a page called associate or a folder called associate members. It will only go and look for the information in associate members linked to aofirs.org domain. So literally, it is going to accept the backslashes and part of the URL. But the condition is that it should have the domain name intact uh, for it to function or make it operate with the site colon. Okay, what sounds confusing right now, and I think what you are assuming, certain things you must be assuming right now. I just want you to know that you don't have to worry about it. We will do these one at a time, okay, and make it a lot easier for you. Okay, so I might as well just get out of this was just an intro on the type of operators that would have a certain way of writing or declaring the property value or the property name after the colon sign. What else was there? There was this, and there's another restrictor. Um, we'll do before and after later. Okay. So moving forward, this slide is explaining to you the naming of the different parts of structure of these operators. So take an example of file type colon PDF, right? What are these called? In the terms that we will use as we go through the operators, I might be calling file type, the property name, the colon sign is called property operator, and whatever is declared or explained or placed right after the colon sign is called property value. So every property name has a property value, but without the colon sign, the search would not know what it is supposed to do, because the word file type will be treated as a text and not as an executable command. So what makes it executable is the colon sign, this one right here. Just remember that, and then you will see how we could use just the colon sign to make certain functionalities happen using file type, because there is a special property of colon alone that can be leveraged, and it could become part of the search. I'll show that as well. Now, when we create um, the search query string, we call it, okay, we can put interoperable advanced search operators along with the basic search like booleans, and make it all function together. And this is what the slide is saying. So use, you can basically make the query more proficient, and you can make it more desirable for finding something that would interact or would somehow be able to balance the certain commands that would work for or against or with certain properties of these words that we are using. So where we take this as an example, it is just showing that if I separate, let's say, irs.gov form 1040. And by the way, this is just indicating the space. I wish I had a better slides that I don't see it here, but let me get rid of this. It's just a distraction. I'm just getting rid of these. Throw away all of this. It's junk. This is the query. Okay, so if we had to execute a command site colon irs.gov, it is going to restrict the search to the .gov website of IRS, and we want to look for the form 1040. We can make this a separate query, or let this be a separate search query. Okay. And then if we want to find a file type colon PDF and the word download, this could be another query. Or we could make file type PDF download form 1040 as one query and make site with iris.gov form 1040 as another query. So they can work separately. But if we put them together, we look at the common word, which is form 1040. Here, the file type will function to go to the type of files inside of a site called irs.gov to look for the wordings in the PDF that says download, and basically looking for form 1040 as the textual command. So altogether, it is working as one set, and therefore we can use multiple or different types of advanced operators in a single search string. That's all it is supposed to tell you. Now, I'm going to start with file type, and that is probably easier than going to title and in title and in text and so on. So let's take something which is probably going to be a better start. Okay. So first of all, remember that the file type colon is there are two ways of declaring something in the string as words versus the advanced search command. Take an example of the word Elasticsearch. If you put it before the operator file type and you followed by colon sign PDF, it is basically telling the search to find the word Elasticsearch in a file that is coming from a source that only is PDFs. It should not come from HTMLs, which is typically how the pages are set, but only query into the files which are stored in or indexed in the PDF format and look for this word. Now, if I have to run the same command by moving or switching the positioning of how the file type command is separated from Elasticsearch, where Elasticsearch is followed by it, that's the reverse of the first instance, uh, you will see the results are the same or somewhat similar. That means that there won't be a huge margin of difference between the two, and therefore the positioning or the placement would not matter if you're using file type command. Whereas when you're doing in title and few other things, there could be some exceptions. So first of all, this is one of the things that you can be sure that you will get, and it wouldn't matter if you put it before or after. Now, moving forward, you can use or you can construct the same search or something that you can add to the search by adding additional keywords or search terms. You can place them on the left, like two over here. You can even put two terms on the right of it. Um, you know, and maybe again, coming back to the note, there's nothing better than the notepad to explain things. Honestly speaking, and takes it is a little bit consuming, but it's worth it. So let me take a semantic search, and then I have mm, Elasticsearch. These are the two terms. And then I put file type, and I put PDF. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if I put this word, it would still not matter to the search. Okay. Even if I add another word on the right of it, even then it would not matter like reshuffling the terms on left and the right of it would not matter, because the search looks at the query as a whole, like in a heuristic sense of looking at it not as how you write English from right to left, but here the function using file type is to look at everything as a whole. The only thing that you should avoid, which is when you are, let's say, placing file type PDF and putting a minus sign here. By the way, you can use a minus sign as well to eliminate or to exclude something from the PDFs, or it should not be coming from PDFs. This is the command. That's what it is saying. Do not include the file type which is PDF formats to bring my results that includes the words like Elasticsearch, semantic search, internet text. I don't want any. All three of them can come from HTML, from PDF, XLS, whatever else the file types may be used. It's all acceptable, except that I don't want it to be coming from the source called PDF, or PDF may not be the source and therefore exclude PDFs. Now, there is another error in this. What error I have made is that I started the search query with a minus sign, or anything that is starting from the minus should not be the first imposed restrictor in any of the search strings, or the in the query string. You can put it anywhere else except whenever you're putting minus, make sure it is anywhere else except being the first one at the, you can put it, safer is to put it at the very end. Okay. So this is all right. So, when we are doing this recording, I want you, because nobody has the kind of memory, that with so much information coming in, you cannot absorb anything. Make sure that this recording you can review later, and then make your notes, or you can even just pick up a book and go to these chapters. I'll keep explaining it through the book as well and tell you what are the chapters we are covering. That is going to come next, after we take about 10 minutes of break, and then we will continue with the file type as one operator that we starting with, and then we will see the different variations of how the file type is executable, and the rules that we talked about, we are going to put them into play by actually executing those queries in the search box. So let's meet in about 10 minutes, a short break. I'll see you in a little bit. And prepare any. Okay, everyone, if you're ready, we can continue. And I just want a nod. Anyone can tell me if the screen is clear, you can see it, and the voice is okay as well. If all is good, we'll continue. Okay.
Is it,
Thank you.
Mr.
Yes.
Manzoor, sorry, is it
No, no.
possible to ask question?
Yes. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Now, I've noticed that there was a query where you added download
Mhm.
besides site colon PDF. So what's the point of adding download, but we already have PDF document that we can download? So that's the first one.
Okay.
And the second one, I've read in the book, when we put site colon, in some cases you can add asterisk dot, for example, gov or edu. So it seems that you have more results when you add asterisk. What's the reason for that?
Mm. When we are going to um, start to examine the different ways in which we can place the asterisks in the file type, for the benefit of everybody, they will also be on the same page. They'll know what you're talking about. So
Sure.
we'll tackle it for sure. As far as the word download, I mean, you can use any other word, but for the example, the idea behind using download is that you want to download a form. So the result will bring something that is in the title or in the description that gives you the option to download that form. That's the reason you've used it. We have used it. So it's not a big deal. It's just that, the word download would be for the forms to be, it's not necessary that every time you go to a PDF, it will allow you or it will be a downloadable form. So it could be a word in the PDF somewhere, but we want it to be more specific, um, just so that the result that comes will be a downloadable form. When you execute the query, you will discover it. So when you copy that and paste it in your browser, and when you get the results, there would be so many questions answered because of using the word downloadable. If you don't use the downloadable, it will take you to a form, then you have to go to another navigation, which would allow you to download it as a form. So there could be all those variations, but you make it a restrictor to allow for the search to exactly go and hit that page, which is a downloadable form 1040. So there could be, and you learn this when you are actually, starting to use these queries and use these operators. You'll become more proficient. You will know what is the utility of it. But when we described it with the word download, that is just to give you any kind of a wording that would work with the file type to take you to what is intended downloadable form. That's the only reason. So there is no complication in that sense. We don't want to worry about the wordings. We want to worry about how the file type operator can be used. It can be used with multiple search terms, and those terms are for you to add and work with. So that's not any kind of a restrictor or anything that we have to go deeper into. But what is
Thank you.
important is what we will discuss. Sure, no worries. In this way of how certain queries are correctly done and others that won't work. That's what we will be examining right now in this slide. So what I did is I just copied and pasted it um, in the notepad to start working with the different ways in which we can execute it. This, I'm going to increase this a little bit and look at the query 5, sorry. In query 5, we have these wordings we are using. What happens now, if I may ask, what happens if we want the file type to have, to look for not just one type of file, but different formats of a file? Like if I want a PDF to be found along with the XLS, so that I don't miss out on PDFs if they contain these wordings. We don't want to miss out on them, and yet we also wanted to discover it in the XLS files. Can we run multiple instances of the same, like we did in this query? That is the
No,
question.
no.
Yeah.
I read it
No,
in
we
the
can.
book. In the book, if
Yes.
my memory is correct, I think the book said that if you want a PDF, you want to run that by itself.
Yes, and that's what I'm glad you read the book, and that's really what I would have wanted everybody to do, and so that they can ask even better questions or even deeper questions. But anyway, so let's, for the benefit of others who haven't actually looked at it, let's explain to them the same concept. Now, supposing I have two file format, XLS and PowerPoint, and I want it to be an executable query using, as I said, two instances of the same file type operator. Can we do that? I don't think we can do it. It's why is that? Is because file type is an absolute command. By the nature of it, it is supposed to work separate from any other comparative or any other similar instance as we did over here. it would not work. It would probably just get up till here and ignore the other one. It is as if they're fighting each other, you know. They're being an absolute command means that it don't want to coexist with the another instance of the same operator. So that's the nature of using the file type. So the only way we are going to make it work, or what is ideally as acceptable for both to work together, is that you put an OR command in between. And this is the only way it will function. So if I want to show this in the search box and see how it would function, just to make sure that whatever we discussed is actually true or not. So let's suppose I want this information in these two formats, and it is very convenient. Like if you can actually describe the different formats or specific formats to obtain the information, you want to do it in one go, then we might, it will be useful to use multiple instances. But when I do it like this without using the OR command, I should not be able to get the result. I don't get any results right now. So, in order for me to make it work, let's suppose I put a OR over here, and let me try it again. So this was successful. And when I look at the two types of files that I'm looking for, unfortunately, what used to come as an icon that described whether it is a PDF or XLS or any of those, it used to come or appear somewhere here. But now, at least in my side, in because I'm not in USA, it is not showing up. But I know that when students tried it in their browsers, some of them would still find the icons. So let me give you this search. Um, First of all, I'm just giving it to you for you to actually put it in your um, search boxes and try it. Uh, okay, so it's coming your way. What I want to discover is that there should be only XLS and PowerPoints in this results and nothing else. That's all I want to discover. So for me to find that out, I can click on these three dots to look at the link, and I see that the link is taking me to PowerPoint. Similarly, next link also, I see that it is taking me to PowerPoint. And as I keep searching for the files or their formats, I will see that these are only XLS files or PowerPoint files. But for me to, and see here it is saying XLS. So these are XLS and PowerPoints, all of them. If you run this query on your site, find anything that is not PowerPoint or XLS. You won't be able to do that only because the two types of files are discovered here for the wordings that are contained in either XLSs or PowerPoints. And if you try it in the box, see if any one of you are getting the icons, what used to be found somewhere at the top right here. Anyone, because you're all in different regions. So maybe one of you would find that icon. So Anthony, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so. You want me to look up two other file types?
No, just copy and paste this. I sent
Oh,
it in
okay.
the chat and just run it in the browser. I
Okay.
just want to, yeah, because what used to be the icons have disappeared. And the last maybe couple of weeks, I didn't see them. But it doesn't mean that the files would be different. They won't be different than what is placed in the query. It will all be invariably, all of them would be either XLSs or PowerPoints.
Yeah, it's not allowing me to copy it for some reason.
Huh.
Oh, did you
It's,
have to
it's
send
in
it?
the chat box. It's
Okay,
in the chat box. See
let's
right
try
here,
this
it's in
again.
the chat box.
Yeah, I see that. Okay. Why is it not letting me copy it?
Wow. Why would it do that?
What is it? Copy is Control C? No.
Yeah, Control C and then Control V when you paste it.
Okay, right. Okay, let me try it again.
Hey, Romy, you want to try it? Copy and paste. Everybody else, I don't know if you can do. You have
It
your
doesn't
browsers
work.
open,
I tried it as well. It doesn't work for some reasons. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
let
need
me
to
right?
let
run.
me
No, it will work, but I'm just looking for the icons. Query is perfect. It's going to work.
hold on. Let me try it again. I just need to get it copied right. That's my challenge right now.
Can you write the query like it is written here in the
Yeah,
box at the
I
top?
can probably type it out.
That's
That's
probably
probably
better. I just want one of you, or at least get, if any one of you can just run it in your browser.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just type it out, I guess.
That's what you're supposed to do. Just type it.
Okay.
It's not like it's going to take too much. I just want to check
Or
why it's happening. Google is supposed to keep those icons there, and
right.
now
I've
they have
I've
made
done
some
it.
changes.
I've
Mhm.
just done it.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, I mean, you can't see the icons. I've just seen only on one link, XLS, but on the other links, you can't see it. It's not consistent.
Yeah, so as much as we'd like to rely on Google for being consistent, unfortunately, they keep experimenting and keep messing up with things. But the idea and the results are accurate. That's what I want you to discover. Perhaps something that, all right, so same here. So Google has done something nasty with these. Anyway, if you click on the links, I can guarantee you that they will be coming from either the XLS as the source or PowerPoints, nothing else. And used to be easier when you could see the icons. I could show the students that, look, this is how it is showing up. But now that it's disappeared, you have to actually look at the three dots, click on it, look at the entire URL to see if at the end of the URL, whether it will say PDFs or XLSs, but nothing like docs or, I'm sorry, not the PDFs. I keep saying PDF, the PowerPoints and the XLS. That's all you will see. So this is the restrictor that will work for you to be able to run the query with multiple instances of file type only by using the OR command. That's the bottom line. So I just want you to remember that. And if I want to add to it, let's suppose I want to add to it the file format. XLS and say Word. So say doc, DOC. It will again now extend its coverage to looking for these terms within the doc file or the PP PowerPoints or the XLSs. The OR command would only allow for the multiple instances of file type to coexist and work all the same to get you the results. So here you have restricted it to the three file types and excluded those pages that are HTML, purely HTML pages or PDF pages. All of those are excluded. Okay, so this is the other way of explaining the idea that when these restrictors are there, three formats, three sources stick together and remain as the only source of information. But I will exclude any other formats, which means the regular HTML pages or even the pages that are PDFs, they won't be included in the results. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's very important. Um, Anyway, so this is explained here. Now, there is one exception to when you need multiple files to be found or multiple sources coming from those file extensions. Um, when you mix or you add a PDF as another choice or as a choice between PowerPoint, XLS, and PDF together, as I am about to do now. If I do like this, it's still executable. But what Google has done is that they have made PDF file to be a priority search. This is only exception for the PDF files. So when you put PDF, it is invariably going to return results from PDF and ignore PowerPoint, XLS. And even though the query structure is correct, but there is a precedence of PDFs being discovered as priority or perhaps PowerPoints or XLS would exist, but could be way deep down that you might not get those snippets even showing any of those PowerPoints or XLSs. Invariably, all the results will show PDFs. So when you are doing multiple file formats, it is a good idea not to include PDF in there, or where you have to look for something within PDF, do it separately, not include it as a choice, okay, with the ORs. So I hope that concept is clear. Now, if you have more questions on this, you can look it into the books, and there are many examples there. The only thing that I regrettably, the icons have suddenly disappeared. Something that you used to look for and was very good to give idea of where the source is coming from. Now you have to go and click on the link to discover it. I don't know why they did that. I have absolutely no idea. Even though it is not a very good move. If it was there and it was doing a good job, why did they take it out? I still don't have an answer. We put the question in the forum. We have a few volunteers that are looking for answers, and there is no answer coming or no response from the Google side. Okay. All right.
So I
So we
have
have to
one
keep
theory.
moving. Yes. You have
Yeah,
one icon?
I have one theory is that these marketers, these people that are out here marketing different items over the internet, they're trying to game Google's algorithms. So they're constantly changing them because those proprietary secrets keep getting out. So they keep changing them so the marketers won't game their algorithms. That's my theory.
Yeah, but I mean, I can counter that argument by saying, that I mean, the change could be done in so many different ways. Why do they have to get rid of something which is information after all? and it was an added information that gave a better user experience, as they keep saying that we want to give a better user experience by doing all these things. And they come to a point where finally they're generating something useful for us. And then they take away. It's like, giving a candy, then taking it, snatching it away. No?
Yeah,
So why do they have
I
to do
agree.
that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, okay. I have opened a few pages in the book, which I'd like you to look at to get an understanding of what type of file formats you can actually use as restricted with the file type. So with the file type command, these are the type of files or the extensions that will work or are discoverable using file type. Anything out of this list will not work. So if I'm using JPEG or MPEG and those kind of files, that is for media and images and so on, it just does not function. So even though those are file types as well, so why not allow for JPEG or MPEG or all those to function with file type? Okay. So now I have something to share with you on those lines to let you know. Let me just get back to the slides. Uh, I'm going to find those file types that are not in the list, and just to make a point that they are not discoverable. So how to go around that restrictor and find an alternative to get to those pictures. Okay. For example, what is it? PNG image, transparent PNG white horse. Unfortunately, I can't copy it, so I'm going to write it. Transparent PNG colon white horse. Okay. So let me try that. What is it? PNG white horse. Now, originally, what I want to get to is image file format. It's called PNG, and I'm looking for the white horse using file type and putting simply PNG as a format. I can even put JPEG, but let's try the first one, PNG, and I want the transparent image of a white horse. Okay, so this should be the right way of this is what we have learned, how we are going to structure the query using the file type. Is this correct? To me, this looks correct. Okay, but what we have done is, now that we want to search for images, not for the other file types, but image files, which is PNG. And I'm going to copy it and run it in the browser to see if it is working or not. Why? Because what I'm betting is that PNG won't work because it's not in the list. Okay. So I want to just test it out using it in the browser. Okay. It's an ad, so there is no results, literally no results. Okay. Just because PNG is not discoverable. If we want to do JPEG, I think we'll get the same situation. Nothing coming. MOV files or MPEG, let's say, MPEG 4. No. So These are not the file formats that you can discover using file type. Remember how we want to look for pictures, images, and things of that sort? And even movies, we go to first we go to the YouTube, and then we look for it, or somewhere that we want to discover multimedia files, we need to restrict it to a certain type of multimedia files. I'm talking in terms of the naming of the files or the extensions that's given to it, because there are different file formats even in video streaming, but none of them are going to work with the file type command here. And therefore, anything that you put as the key terms will not emerge from or be coming out of these file formats. So this is, this is a barrier. This is a problem. Now, what the search would want you to do, and listen to this carefully, is to do the image searches using, specifically the image search would mean that you press this icon at the top for images only, and that's when you discover it. But uh, then there could be videos also that you will click on, and invariably you will find the video files. However, I want you to visualize something very, very intently with what I'm trying to explain, and I'm going to try my best. When you're doing file type search or for using file type command, you are basically Googling into an algorithmic process which pertains to searching the indexed pages only. Okay. But when you are doing your search using images and videos as shown in these icons, these are totally different algorithms, and it is literally a different search engine. I've worked on these things. I'm telling you that these are totally different searches that are working on top of the indexing system of your Google search, which is a true search. But when you do images search, it is not going to give you as much of an accuracy, or it will not be working along with the type of operators that we are discovering and you are understanding. Those operators, the advanced and the basic, they are meant to search the indexing of the content pages that is collected, or which are separately um, um, separately working with the queries that we are discovering right now. So those are different ones. This results from images will bring different results. Videos will bring different results. But if we want to search for images using a deeper search query, which is what we will try to do with workaround of file type to get to those images, I'll show you how to do that. Even with video files, you can do that too, and that this would mean a deeper search. So understand that if I am a researcher, I'd rather not be using image and video buttons at the top, because I need to scrape into the deeper zones of the indexed images and videos, which is otherwise not discoverable through images and video icons at the top, for separate navigations and separate algorithms that are working. So how do I do that? Now, I would share with you something that is a workaround. Sometimes you can say that we have rigged the query, or we have actually, when we start to deviate from what is expressed as a suggestive search um, criteria, or you could say that operator, and we break it into smaller pieces and we start to find a workaround, we do these things. So let's suppose I want a PNG transparent white horse. I can do it, I can run it. There is one way of doing it. I can write over here, I'll just put an icon which is a symbol of something to be executed, and what gets declared would fall on the right hand side. And if I put PNG here, Okay. I'm forcing the search engine now just by putting the two dots or the colon to look for the PNG version of what is. So on the left hand side, it's a property name. On the right hand side, assume that it is a property value, as I explained to you. Now, if I do enter, I get my results. I do get my results now, right? And I am actually, you are going to find a better quality of results this way than finding it with the images images search icon separately given to you. That would not be my preference, and my workaround I showed you. Okay, when you're doing images just for an additional information which is not part of the course, but just so that you have a better knowledge of some of the ways the images search and the video search works. Taking an example of images search, what images search does is that it collects images from, it just collects images and index it in a certain way, meaning that the if you compare it with discovering images through using the colon versus the image search is actually comparing or looking for images that are basically, let's say they are either copyrightable or not, or the number of results that you will get will be very much limited, meaning that it creates a different index and the algorithms work with the textual description of what this image is about. So if Naveed Manzoor, my face or my photo or my image somewhere is to be searched using the image search, and the name that is given to the image in the textual format, okay, is Mr. Somebody else, Mr. XYZ, then that image would have a different identity, even though if it is my face, but if it is described differently or it is written differently with the textual format of it, it will not be discoverable, or it will just bring the incorrect results. But when we do this search, it not only brings the files which are in the indexed from way back, or which are also needs to be matched with the textual format of how it is described. Uh, it will um, it will not worry about the textual part, but it will look at the image part. So there is a difference in how the image search is organized using the images button versus doing a query like this one. So anyway, idea is to get as much as we can from or do a deeper search. So my suggestion is, instead of doing images search, do it, or instead of you where file type won't work, use the colon as I have explained it here. Okay. And how you're going to place the colon sign is that the declared property should always be on the right hand side, or I'm sorry, the declared property name should be on the right hand of the colon. That's all I'm explaining. Where, and you can also look for other formats and it will work the same. So if the format is, let's say MPEG, I don't know if it exists or not, but let's say MPEG 4, it may not have the wide, but it does. Okay. So MPEG 4 is discovered also. So these are images of transparent white MPEG 4. So if I click on it, you will see that it is an MPEG file that is playable. So you are basically, this is a workaround. That's all for using the icon. So icon is, sorry, using the colon sign. talking too much, sometimes I pretty much, I start to so many concepts come into play just talking about one operation of it, and there are so many things that are coming into my mind, and I'm filtering what I should explain or not explain, or things that would be more confusing. So while I'm doing that, um, my words are sometimes not the same as I want to express. So anyway, I'm going to move forward now and see. Oh, we still have what? When did we start this 1 hour? I didn't change the timing in my. So we started 3:30. We still have half an hour, right? For the 2 hours to finish up. Started at 2. Maybe I'm wrong. What? Okay, so I don't see any icons. It's just horrible. Even MPEG or those file icons, I can't see. They have also disappeared. There was a format icons that used to come. Even those are not showing. So what can we do? Nothing we can do. One more way of how the query can also be constructed, and this I'll share with you. So let's suppose it was IRS form 1040. Okay. And when I put a colon and PDF on the right hand side, it is going to do one of the things which otherwise you won't be able to get to even if you type file type colon PDF. And I'll show you the difference. Now, this we are supposed to explain when we get to the complex search queries. But because our thoughts and are we are focused on learning about file type, so might as well go the whole 9 yards and finish it up totally. And if the need be, we can we can redo it, and I can explain further, but you can be the judge. So now I'm giving you another concept of using the colon sign effectively, and the reason for using colon sign instead of work making it work with the file type. Even though file types like PDFs are executable search with the file type, yet there could be a reason for us to instead use only the colon and do away with the file type as a word. And this is what I'm going to explain to you now and why I'm saying that. So let's suppose the query was um, should have been file type PDF, and it should say what IRS form 1040. Let's suppose. So this is going to bring back results, and because I don't want to have to spend too much time in just copying the links from the internet, but you can do it later if you'd like, but focus on the concept. So if I had run it like this versus, let's even put versus, I ran it um, if I ran it this way, what could be the benefit and what could be the shortcomings? I mean, if I want to do it the way I've shown it to you as a preference, why would that preference be? And where this preference will hold good if there is a reason or a differentiator that I can explain to you, you will get the sense of why I'm doing that. So when I do file type, what I will discover is URLs such as, I'm just constructing something, AOFIRS, sorry, irs.gov. back. So this is how it will show up in the link. Okay. Or this is typically the link that will be found when I'm running it like this with using file type. So with running it like this, what it will do is take me to the PDF file or that form 1040, and I would be able to download it. That means at the time of indexing, this form 1040 was indexed as a PDF file. So originally it was a PDF file that was uploaded and placed in a server, which is visible through the web interface or HTTPS. Now that's the URL I'm getting to. But when I'm doing IRS form 1040, mm, Joanne, you're bored, eh? Too much, not fun anymore. Not what you thought, eh? Your mic is off. Anyway,
I'm just watching what you're doing, King.
it's just it's good to watch if it's interesting. If it's not, then I want to make it more better. Um, I hope it's just that it's not too boring, so you can stick
Oh,
around because. So now I'm doing some hardcore stuff with these queries. It's not usual, so I won't blame anyone. It's just I think it would be useful for some of you. So with okay, so what will happen now if I do this one 7.1, it will it will get me more results. Why more results? So supposing I get 10,000 results here, uh, when I do it this way, I'd probably get 25,000 results. Why is that? Is because some of the missed out PDF files exist as described or as stated on the content page with the title of it. So if the title of something is, let's say, search engine working algorithms. Let's say this is the title of something. Okay. And this is a PDF file, and it is listed on a content page, not as something that you click on as we did in here to get to the PDF directly. But when we run it like this, we get both versions. We get one that is listed on a content page as if it is requires further navigation. So you will get both links. One that is just the title on the content page, and it has the PDF link. So when you get your results, you could find a mix of both. You will see the indexable or indexed uploaded PDFs, and you will also see pages that has in the text format that it is shown that further navigation can be done to a PDF file, which is called search engine working algorithms. So we are able to get slightly more results, which means in the first one, it is going to miss out these PDFs that are not uploaded as PDFs, but have a navigational PDFs within the website, but is described in wordings as a title. With the title, there is clickable PDF link. So it will add more or give more of the discoverable PDF, so you don't want to miss on them. If I have to search for something that is not actually indexed as a PDF, but exists on pages that lead to the PDF, I will use 7.1 and not 7. Okay. You can run it both ways and you can test it out. My job is to explain to you some of the ways in which you can play with this and to have slightly better options, with this variants of using the colons. Anyway, in whatever way you're going to use the file type, the important thing is that file type alone is not enough. When you create a long search query, there'll be other operators such as in title, in text. It's a choice that you have to make in combination with certain other operators. So that would be the main challenge. This is just just a kind of a concept. And by the way, this will work in so many different ways for you for finding those type of information that wouldn't work with the advanced operator. You can always use a colon and experiment with it. I think we are pretty much done on the file type. I think it's a lot of information for you, for all of you. I would not burden you with starting with snippet related search operators for now. Okay. It's enough for you to absorb. And so I'm just going to conclude our session today. But I would leave it open for you to ask any questions. I mean, that part we can do. That part we can do. I just don't want an overload of information today. But we finished up the file type. So if I go back and open this for you, if there's any question that comes to mind, you can ask me that. So
No,
Iromi, yeah, go ahead, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's helpful for me to read ahead of the class so that when we take the class, it's very familiar. So
and you can ask, things. It makes it even easier to ask questions, if you've read ahead of time. But these that we talked about, these variations, there would be a situation that we probably didn't cover as extensively as using a minus sign with the file type. Why do we do that? Okay. And how does that work? See, this is exactly the reason why it makes difficult to explain things when the Google is not showing those icons. So when I'm doing these searches, I have to prove that this is how it is discovering or not discovering certain file formats. I have to go and press the three, the three dots, and then read through the um, that link. So that makes it a very tedious exercise. Anyway, let's just isolate. I'm going to isolate number 4 right now. Okay. And talk about the minus signs. Tell me the difference between writing the same query but instead of file type, between 4 and 4.1. When I'm using a minus sign with the word PDF, it is giving an indication that you want something coming from the content pages or indexed pages that does not contain the word PDF in it. That means it should not be in the link. The word PDF should not be in the links, URLs that are on those pages. Whereas you know that to find or to search in the PDFs, the link must have the extension PDF mentioned in the URL. So imagine if you put minus PDF, it would also not discover PDF files that has the PDF extension written in the links. So no PDFs there. No PDF as a word in any part of the body of the text or on those content pages. And therefore, not even in title tag, none of the text on those content pages, including the text in the URL, should contain the word PDF. So how would it be different from using minus file type colon PDF as a preferred search or as a differentiator between 4 and 4.1, you know? So you can test it out and you will discover something very extraordinary. So I'd leave it for you to test it out. But if you ask me, I would, when I'm doing minus sign and using it along with the file type colon, all I'm saying is to ensure that nothing is coming from the file type PDF as a format. But when I'm doing 4.1, I'm saying not to have the word, not the extension, not the format, but the word PDF to be included or to be found anywhere in the body of text or in the header or nowhere even in the link. So exclude it as a word. And that would create some sort of ambiguity where the three letters PDF may be a part of the word anywhere on the content page. So it's not preferred. Okay. You want to make the search feel and execute it considering that PDF is an extension or PDF is exclusively a format that you want to exclude and not as a word. So that's why we use minus sign and for the file type of this type to be excluded. Now, if I want other file types to be excluded at the same time, let's suppose I don't want the results from PDF. I don't want the results from another format, XLS. Okay, so these two formats I don't want to be discovered. Can I write multiple instances uh, with the file type using a minus sign? Yes, we can. This condition does not apply as we did for the absolute way of how one file type will not coexist with another when you're not using a minus sign I'm talking about. And the only way to make it work is to put the vertical bar or an or operator. That is when you're not using file type with a minus sign. That is one way of explaining how that query would require the OR operator. But when you're using a minus sign, you do not need to put the OR command here because now it is not an absolute command in the same sense. It is now an exclusion of multiple file types that you don't want to include. So you can use file type colon PDF and file type XLS, and both of these would work just fine. Just so to avoid confusion of what I'm talking about, I'm going to take the same query and put it here as if we are now including the two types of file types. So in, let's call it A, let's call it B. So between A and B, the B will not work like this, and it requires the OR operator. But when you are using minus sign to exclude or as an exclusion, you can put them alongside each other without the use of OR. In fact, you don't use OR at all. Okay. So just be mindful about these situations with A and B. If I talk more about file type, it's going to be an overkill. It'll be like too much. All right. So I think, Joanne, you can always listen to the recordings, stop, pause, forward, back, slowly. But best is to use the book because you can then go with your pace. And at the same time, remember that as Anthony mentioned, reading a little bit ahead of time would do a lot of good. At least get you up to pace with everything. Unfortunately, you see, these courses, these are short courses. These are skill development courses, and we can go to any level of depth that we want. We can go basic, we can go advanced, and so, but the most important part in skill learning that I found is to get a little bit of an understanding or get an overview or get an hands-on practice on few things or few aspects you can learn, and then later as you are actually applying those skills, that's where you learn most of how it works. This is what I found. So if I learn something, about, a small piece of it, and then I apply it in the real life situation, I learn a lot more. So it gives me a direction and it tells me that, look, these could be the complications. And, to be able to learn or to get deeper into situations will also involve a certain, I mean, you will find that there is a wall in front of you and you can't go even in spite of learning the skills. Then you go back and open up what you have learned. A little bit that you read could be, not enough, and then you can go deeper and review from the book and try to find the solution. So it is not a conclusion of, saying that these courses are, going to teach everything. Especially in the short space of time, it is very difficult to compress the information. But I'm trying my best here to give you as much as I can, and mainly because you've got these recordings, so you can always refer to them. Anyway, a lot of talking. My jaw is hurting now, and my throat. I need something warm to drink. How is the weather in Newfoundland, Joanne? Is it cold yet?
It is cold and windy and rainy.
Cold, windy, and rainy. Okay.
It's 2 degrees Celsius right now.
Okay. So obviously that is much cooler than Toronto or Ontario area, right?
But it's a
It's
different
way
kind.
up.
It's a different kind of cold though. It's a wet cold.
Okay, like in Vancouver.
It's a damp, always a damp cold. We may not get snow to stay on the ground until January, but it'll
Yes.
be cold and wet. It gets into your
Hmm.
bones. They say it's good for
I
your
understand.
complexion.
You're right. Actually, that's because you're so much closer to the ocean, right? It's the Atlantic, right? That's
Yes,
why.
I'm a half a mile away from the Atlantic
Hmm.
in that
It's a half
direction.
a mile, so you're almost in front of the
I I
seashore.
I am. There's a cliff that way
Really?
over there. Yeah.
So that should be very scenic and very, I mean,
Well,
it's a nice kind of a picture to see the cliff through the window and you've got the ocean there. So,
yeah,
and this, but you know what? When I moved to Vancouver, I lived in Vancouver for a long time. So, um, my home was very close to the mountains. There was a lot of snow and on the mountains all through the year, and it was very scenic. And for the first few months, we really enjoyed it. Like after maybe 5 or 6 months, we didn't even want to open the window. We didn't want to look at anything. You know, it
yeah.
seemed so standard. Not didn't look as beautiful as it did in the
It,
early. Yeah,
yeah, you get you. We have we undervalue the beauty here sometimes. We
that's
don't
true.
appreciate
That's
it enough.
I
But
exactly,
but
exactly.
when we go to Toronto, my son
Hmm.
is in Toronto, just moved there. When
Hmm.
he goes, when you go up there, oh, it's crazy. So you can't wait to get home.
I know. I'm dreading going back because it's not a good time for me to be returning. I'm trying to extend my contract here with the university. If it comes to begging them, I'd do it just so that I can stay back here longer. My God, I hate. And how about you, Anthony? You are in North Carolina,
Yes, yes. I'm in. When you look at the state of North Carolina, that pointed part of the state, I'm in the mountains,
right?
and we're having a
Hmm.
drought right now. There's a forest fire 10 miles from here right now
Okay. That's not
because we're
far
so.
though.
No, it's not
That's not
because we're
far.
so dry. We haven't had any rain in. I think I watched the
Hmm.
weather 20, 25 days, something like that.
I see. So it's
Yeah.
still warm there, probably,
Very
or
well, I don't think so, but the fact that we haven't had any rain,
rains. Hmm.
right? That's what's causing the forest fires. So we have a,
Hmm.
a no burn notice right now. We can't burn anything.
I used to live in California, in Southern California for a while, close to San Diego. My university was in Los Angeles, Westwood, and so we used to
Yeah,
get those kind of situations quite often, actually.
yeah.
Um, and I remember, Iromi, I went to Sri Lanka once. It was just a very short stay. It was to do with but I tell you, it was very, very humid. Sri Lanka and what was the other one? Philippines, Manila. I mean, I was sweating like nothing I've ever experienced. I think it
Yeah,
was summer like July or something like July or August.
yeah,
That
it
was
is very humid.
It's very green, it's very tropic, but humidity kills you, really. It's the yeah. So anyway, thank you so much. I took so much of your time. I apologize for that, and I'm sure there is a lot that you probably want to catch up on. So let's see each other on what's
Wednesday.
day after? So Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks again for setting it out for so many hours. 2 hours is a lot of time. Thanks again. Have a
It
Okay.
great
is.
evening.
Thank you.
Have a good
See
evening,
you
Thank
next
you.
everyone.
time.
I think you're
Yeah, you
doing
too.
great. I think you're
All
doing
right.
great.
Thank you. Thanks for coming,
All right.
Joanne. It's
Yeah,
good to see you.
okay.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye, Majdi,
All right.
Romy,
Bye.
and
Bye.
bye bye.
All right.
Bye.